Hey, welcome to Just Salvos Live. Today we're talking to a very inspirational and incredibly busy young man. His name is Brad Chilcott. He's the pastor at Activate Church and he's just founded an amazing movement called Welcome to Australia. He is joining us by Skype all the way from a different time zone in South Australia. Hey, Brad.
G'day, how you going?
We are doing really well, thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? You seem to be doing a whole lot. Who on earth are you?
Yeah, my name's Brad Chilcott. Well, first of all, I'm married to a beautiful woman named Rachel. I've got two kids, Harrison and Chloe, and yeah, like you said, I'm the lead pastor at Activate Church here in Adelaide, which is a community we planted about 2 years ago now, and we're really focused on both experiencing the presence of God and having intimate relationship with a living God, and also just mobilising people to do works of justice that help transform the world and really partner with God to heal the world that he loves so much. And yeah, and also, as you said, just recently began this initiative, Welcome to Australia, which is encouraging everyone to work together to create a welcoming culture in our nation and in our communities.
It sounds great, and it's something that we at Just Salvos have been really trying to cultivate as well. So we're really thankful that you've created such a really easy way of people getting involved in this issue. Brad, I'm just wondering, how did you personally get to this point? How did you get a heart, I guess, for refugees and asylum seekers?
Part of it, I think, is having kids myself, and you see these families that are arriving in Australia on boats or by plane from Africa and the Middle East and other places like Sri Lanka, and whatever you think about the politics of it or the policy of it, when you see these parents with their children and you listen to their stories, and in our church we have a whole bunch of people of Congolese origin, and we've got one family in particular that has now got 14 kids that they look after, and some of those are because the parents of half of the children were killed in the war in Congo, and so they've kind of adopted those kids. And you sit down with them and hear their stories of going to school one morning and being told that their parents have been killed and they can't go home that afternoon. And when you hear those kind of stories, no matter what you think of government policy or the public rhetoric, your heart just breaks, and you think to yourself, or I think to myself, how terrible it must be to not only go through that situation, but then arrive in a country where the prevailing message in the media and public rhetoric is nobody wants you here. And for me, I just really wanted to change that public conversation, not just in the media sphere, but also just down the street when you're hanging out, and when these families are interacting in shopping centres and churches and workplaces, that their experience is one of welcome and acceptance and value rather than fear and avoidance.
And I think it really shouldn't be a hard sell in Australia, because I really do believe this is a country that really is embracing of migrants, of refugees, of people of other nations, of others. I really don't think it should be a hard sell to any Australian, but particularly to Christian Australians who really do understand this message deeply of embracing others.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that so often we're just confused by the conflicting messages that we receive, and I think in the Christian scene or in church life, there's actually a lack of education around issues of asylum seeking and refugees and migration in general, and so people often default to just the few catchphrases that they've heard, or they kind of hear someone with authority speak and they think, well, that must be right. And I think really in church circles it should be, and as people that follow Jesus, that our default should be love and compassion and grace and treating people with dignity and value. And and I think that it shouldn't be a hard sell, and sometimes we find that it is. But we're really, especially with Welcome to Australia and as a church at Activate, we're really big on not trying to be anti this party or anti that party, but rather just say these are people, and they're people with real stories, real hopes, real dreams, real family, and they're here in our nation. Surely it's our responsibility to express love, grace, compassion, mercy and justice to these people while they're here.
Brad, you picked up a bit earlier about one of the stories that really prompted you to start this movement, Welcome to Australia. Do you want to introduce a little, we're going to have a bit of a look of a clip now, which you've selected for us.
Yeah, for sure. This is a clip that Amnesty International have been promoting through the Rethink Refugees website, which is a great site to check out to see a whole range of stories from different refugees and migrants from around the world. As part of the Welcome to Australia campaign at our website, there's a place where you can share your story as well of what it's been like for you to arrive in Australia and the kind of welcome you received. And so kind of using this clip from Najeeba Wazifadost as an example of someone telling their story. And she's an amazing young woman from Afghanistan. She's a Hazara woman who is now the president, I think they call it, of the Hazara Women of Australia. She was on Q&A on Monday night recently, so you can check that out at the ABC website as well. This is her story of what it's been like for her to arrive in Australia and then to really take advantage of the opportunities that living here in a beautiful country like Australia brings to people from the third world who have never had these kind of opportunities before. So yeah, check this out.
My name is Najeeba Wazifadost and I'm 22 years old. I've done medical science degree and I've completed this year. So I've started taking nursing degree for now, and next year hopefully I'll be doing medicine. Knowing that you have to leave your country was one of the most important decisions that my family had to make. It wasn't something easy, and once we knew that our life is danger and there's no way that we can survive in Afghanistan, we had to leave, go somewhere where we will be in peace and have security basically. So therefore, because of all the things that we heard about Australia, my family and my dad decided that we should go to Australia, and from then our smuggler took on the journey and brought us from Pakistan to countries like Indonesia, and from Indonesia to Australia by boat. But during this journey, knowing the fact that my mom was actually pregnant from Afghanistan made our trip even harder, because we had to constantly take care of our mom and making sure that she's going to deliver the baby safe. The spaces that we had in the boat were just to sit down squashed. We didn't even have the space to sleep or lie down perfectly. It wasn't nothing like that. We didn't have access to any health or anything like that. So basically we had to stay in boat for 10 days without anything and just hoping that we would survive in the boat and we will not get drowned and get to a country like Australia where we can get that refuge that we need. There are actually a lot of North Australians out there that I would love to thank them for all the contribution that they made to my life. And that's where my views changed, and I start thinking that now I actually have to repay back for what they've given me. I have to contribute to this country because of what they have given me, because of the changes that they have made to my life. Because in my country, we never had those opportunities, but in Australia, I've had the opportunity to access to education, to health. I wanted to do as good as I can in my studies, so I can reach that stage where I can say to Australia now, I'm a citizen. I'm an Australian citizen, and this is what I have achieved.
Well, that certainly was an incredibly powerful clip, and you're right, Brad. It's once you see and hear the stories that we really start to understand why this is such an important issue. Often we get a bit of criticism, and I'm sure you get the same, that when we focus on this issue, we're told maybe we should be focusing more on domestic issues, such as homelessness on our streets. How do you tackle that kind of criticism?
I think really the answer, and the only answer a church or followers of Jesus can have, is that it's not an either-or issue, it's a both-and issue, that we really seek to serve people in whatever needs people have. And, I think we live in a globalised culture, and we like to talk about that in so many different ways in our media these days, that we live in a globalised situation. But often it seems that when we come to these issues of justice and care and loving others, that we somehow lose our globalised focus and we suddenly become insular, and it's all about us, meaning us Australians or us white people or whatever that might be. The reality is that these are people, and just like I'm a person and you're a person, these are people, and they're in our sphere of influence. They're in an area where we can have impact on their lives and we can show them love. So it's not not like those homeless people are us and these asylum seekers are not us. We're all us, if that makes sense. We're all humans and equally deserving of love and mercy and our service.
And the thing that I love about the Welcome to Australia project is that it's not actually us who have power welcoming you who have nothing. I think the idea is everyone can get involved in this and everybody makes a welcoming Australia, whether you're homeless, whether you are rich, whether you're an asylum seeker. It's actually a whole process. Would that be right, Brad?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, when we first began, we had a very obvious question asked of us, which is, surely only an Indigenous Australian can offer welcome to this land, and which we really agree with that concept in a formal level, that the Indigenous people of Australia that can offer welcome to what is their land and always will be their land. But at the same time, we all work together to create the atmosphere in our local community or in our street or in our workplace, in our university or wherever it might be. And whether I've been calling Australia home for days or decades or for forever, I can still help create a culture of welcome in my sphere of influence. And that's kind of what Welcome to Australia is all about, saying that whether you've been here and arrived here last week or whether you've been here your whole life, you can help people feel welcome in this nation.
All right, so we want to help, we want to get on board. How do we do that? Tell us about how we get people involved in Welcome to Australia.
That'd be great. If you visited www.welcometoaustralia.org.au and all the information's up there, but basically what we're doing is asking people to host welcome parties in their homes, churches, streets, sporting clubs, anywhere else you can think of really, in the week of June 19 to 26. And a welcome party is really simple. It can be an existing event that already happens every week, like a church service or a football match or a business lunch, or it can be a new event that you create. And all you really need to do is register on the website and download the video, which will be up there soon, to show in some context at the welcome party you're hosting. And there's also an information sheet you can download from the website to hand out to help educate people about issues of asylum seeking and refugees and migration. And so it's really transferable. It can be as simple as 10 friends in your lounge room or backyard up to 100,000 people at the MCG with a video on the screen. If any of you out there can organise that, that would be fantastic.
Now, that would be a party.
Yeah.
Brad Chilcott, you're an incredibly busy man. We won't keep you. Thank you so much, not only for talking to us today, but for all you're doing. This is an amazing movement, and we're certainly incredibly blessed to be able to talk to you and certainly get on board. We'll be pushing all of this and more on our Facebook page over the next couple of weeks, including in the lead up to the big party on the 19th to the 26th. You can have a look at us on facebook.com/Just Salvos. In case you're wondering, here again is the Welcome to Australia website on the screen. Thank you very much, Brad. We'll catch you all next week on Just Salvos Live.